Welcome to session 3 of the Wellbeing workshops. I'm recording this after the session because I couldn't get my recording to work. So we're exploring all things sleep today, and it's very information heavy. So I'm going to skip through some of the things as quickly as possible, and you can look at these slides following the session at your own leisure. So we're going to begin with a review of what we've been covering and of the home practices, then moving into sleep discoveries and strategies before looking at home practice and a close. So we've been looking at a reticular activation system, this way of filtering our view of the world and how we can control it to support our own well-being. We'll be covering that a little bit more again today. And we've been exercising that by looking at our average day, the wellbeing appointment, and this square breathing technique. And these tools are available to you as often or as little as you like. So these are in your toolkit now. Last week, we began exploring the vagus nerve, which is this nerve that interfaces with the heart, lungs, and digestive tract, and is a huge part of our well-being. And we're learning to sort of exercise it a little bit more to support well-being by activating the parasympathetic nervous system with these breathing techniques, with this pausing and checking in with our bodies. And we did this. I'll come to that in a minute. We did this last week with the present moment awareness of dropping into the body and what we experience when we're engaging in an everyday ordinary activity that's mundane but quite extraordinary and complex. The movements, the sounds, the colours, the textures and the temperatures. So again, this activating of that reticular activation system. The pleasant experiences calendar of naming specific emotions, noticing where they are in the body, dropping from this space here of analysing and busyness into what's actually happening within our bodies. And then there was the fatigue diary, so noting down when you were tired, any contributing factors, and using the emotion wheel to help, because our emotions can really impact on our fatigue, and it's not about changing anything but noticing so that we can take care of ourselves within our daily lives, which then in turn becomes our lives. What helps, what makes things worth. So if you do have any feedback around what came up for you with those home practices, or even if you didn't do them, why didn't you do them, what's missing, what did you find unhelpful about them, because that's information as well. Why are you aversive to having a look at these tasks? Is it finding the time for yourself? Is that a habit? Not taking yourself into consideration into your daily activities, perhaps, or they may just be boring. But you're not boring, you're really interesting, and we're learning to listen to ourselves. Okay, so a few sleep discoveries, which will hopefully be interesting and informative and new. That's what I was looking for, new information. Stepping outside of our stories and our expectations of how things should be, because guess what? The forgotten medieval habit of 2 sleeps. We didn't used to be expected to sleep for 7 to 9 hours, which is known as monophasic sleep, that one continuous block. It's common in people, but not other animals. Most animals don't sleep in this way. Biphasic sleep takes place over 2 phases. For most of history, people have slept in 2 4-hour phases, and 85% of mammals sleep in this way. So letting go maybe of that expectation to have one big long sleep. Maybe it's okay to separate it into 2, going to bed at 7 when you're tired, sleeping until you're 11, getting up for a few hours, and then going back to bed and sleeping for another 4 hours, for example. Sort of pressing pause on an expectation, which can in turn cause us to suffer. So maybe biphasic sleep is something at this period of your life, is something to be thinking about. I mean, there are other types of sleep as well as a polyphasic sleep. So I'll leave you with these to read through in your own time. But again, it's this idea of thinking about sleep a little bit differently, and possibly sleeping in 2 blocks, longer sleep, naps in the day. So having 2 sessions in the night, or 1 session at night and 1 during the day. So those slides are there for you. Another little thing I found on my investigations was a winter and a summer sleep. So sleeping with the seasons. Have you noticed that at different times of year or weather patterns that this influences your sleep? So for example, you may sleep better in the autumn and in the spring than in the summer or the winter. There are seasons and temperatures and humidity and atmospheric pressure that can have both a positive and a negative impact on our sleep. So being mindful of those things, it means that we can take them into consideration. Changing the types of bed linen that we have, changing the times that we're sleeping, and all sorts. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is important for serotonin production, and serotonin is important for functions including our sleep-wake cycles. Our main source of vitamin D is sunlight, meaning that if we don't get enough sunlight, we miss out. And research has shown that lack of sunlight can increase feelings of depression and fatigue and increase carb cravings as serotonin levels are affected. Lower vitamin D levels have been associated with greater daytime drowsiness, and changes in the light-dark cycles can also affect when your body releases melatonin, making you feel tired earlier or later than usual. Getting outside supports the body to adjust to the seasons and get adequate levels of vitamin D. And if you are outside, not wearing sunglasses all of the time, our body responds to our environments. And when we have sunglasses on, it tells the body that we're in shade. But also it filters out the vitamin D that so we can't absorb it in that way. So something to bear in mind. Weather changes can be painful. So you may have been aware of that with the temperatures and barometric pressure affecting arthritis. There's lots of research around that. And then also extreme temperatures and humidity can be associated with migraines. So it's not necessarily about changing things, but about holding things in mind and preparing ourselves around the weather to take care of our needs. And you'll have that link within the handouts. So the idea is to step out of our stories, and we've just explored some different views on sleep, and I'm sure there are many, many others. But perhaps we weren't actually designed to sleep in consistent patterns. Before the Industrial Revolution, where we were mainly farm-based people, it would be quieter in the winter. We would need to wake up in the night to stoke the fire. We might eat a meal, and we would go wake up for a few hours and then go back to bed. And I'm including a wonderful article about the medieval times and a murder mystery that was never solved, where the girl talks about we woke up from our first sleep. So that was the norms and habits change, and this constant stimulation and constant light, our brains are slightly overloaded. So looking at how stimulated we are within our days, and how that is impacting on our overall health, including but not exclusively our sleep. So we can step out of our stories and the rhetoric around how sleep should be, and we can activate the reticular activation system that can change the trajectory of our experience, as we discussed earlier. So this, the reticular activation system validates our beliefs, and it filters the world through the parameters that we give it. It shapes our beliefs, and it helps us see what we want to see, even if it isn't what we want to see. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So it's very important for controlling sleep, waking, and attention. So it's a big factor within sleep, and it's a very sophisticated filter. So it allows you to focus on what you value. It allows you to perceive a threat, and it supports you when you set your goals. So when we look at value, threat, and goals and how it can make things worse, I just want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to tell you not to think about a yellow Mini. Now, I don't want you to think about a pink elephant. And I don't want you to think about how you need to get a good night's sleep and you're tired. And if you don't get a good night's sleep, it's going to ruin your day tomorrow. Okay, opening your eyes if you had them closed. When we are anxious and about not being able to sleep, it becomes a loop of anxiety that prevents sleep. So when we look at the reticular activation system of the value, threat, and goals, you're looking to get a good night's sleep, but you're perceiving a threat because you don't think you're going to get a good night's sleep, you're going to have a horrible day if you don't, because your goal is that you can get enough sleep so that you can do the things that you need to do. So it perpetuates this is going to ruin everything and I'm not going to sleep and I need to sleep. I don't think about a yellow mini, don't think about a yellow mini. And so you perpetuate it. But we can use it to make things better. So we can change our self-talk. So when we actively focus on the positives of a situation, whatever they may be, we can train ourselves to look for the good. Now, I know that this can sound a bit Pollyanna, but this is this reticular activation system. So the value, you can change the value to, the important thing is that I rest, and simply resting is enough. That lying here, reading my book for a while is enough to give me some rest, and I can change my plans for tomorrow to have an easier day. There are things that I can change that are within my control. The goal, I'm going to settle in and notice the sensations of me resting here, that I'm safe and I'm at peace. I've got nowhere to go, nowhere to be but here. My soft bed, my clean sheets, my roof that protects me from the elements, a good book that I can finish. I can go and have a hot warm bath, like sort of that there are choices there. This naturally activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This soothes you, this tells you that you're safe. There's no threat, there's no lion. Okay, so you did not get a good night's sleep. What would you normally do? Are you critical? Do you judge yourself? Do you compare yourself to how you think you should feel? Do you worry about the day ahead, that you'll let people down, that it's going to be a rubbish day? A toddler in your care didn't get a good night's sleep. You'd planned a busy day. What do? You replan your day and accommodate it to the child's needs. A longer nap time, less stimulating activities, nourishing foods, and a low stimulus day. As they'll be more sensitive, that's okay. You were planning to do a supermarket shop. Today is not the day to take a toddler to the supermarket. So have a think about how you would take care of yourself. Thinking of yourself as that toddler. You're going to be more sensitive, you're going to be more irritable, you're going to be more grumpy, emotional. When you're tired, how can you take care of yourself? And there's nothing wrong with you, but being with yourself as you are and taking care of the things that you need. It might be that today is not the day to eat loads of processed food, loads of sugar, to drink lots of coffee, to have lots of alcohol. Those sorts of things that are within our control, keeping it low stimulus, like nourishing, soothing days. You wake up in the middle of the night. What can you do? So here are some techniques, and again, all of these are going to be shared with links in the handouts at the end. So there's a military training tool that I've linked to, and that is they've trained soldiers to be able to fall asleep, and apparently they can do it in minutes. So it's basically breathing, visualization, and some little gentle movements of your fingers and toes. Excuse me. There's acupressure, sport for choice, loads of different things you can choose from. Apparently massaging here releases some melatonin into the body, which induces sleep, so worth a go. Your body is incredible, and there are so many things about it that we don't understand and that we can access potentially. Okay, so non-sleep deep rest. So this is a progressive relaxation technique, and I've linked it below. It could also be yoga nidra or a mindfulness meditation, and this is the wrong slide. Oh, so frustrating. Anyway, so this is the Wellbeing Atelier's mindfulness meditations that I'm going to link to. I'll do that at the end. So lots of recordings of me and my voice. If you don't find my voice relaxing, then don't listen to me. There's loads of noise. There's loads of things out there. Loads of noise. There is loads of noise. Anyway, brown noise. So brown noise, I'd never heard of that before. I put something on Facebook and asked for tips, and somebody mentioned this. And it's a low, deep tone, soothing sound that you can have on in the background, and it's quieter than white noise. So YouTube, SoundCloud, any of Spotify, probably all of them will probably have that on there that you can listen to. You can put a hand on your chest and a hand on your head and feel the sensations, the warmth of your hand. Notice just the physical sensations of it. So it's moving your brain away from thinking and analysing into the reality of what's happening. Okay, I can feel my hand on my head. This also releases oxytocin because of touch, which can support sleep. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. So this is a bit like that square breathing technique where you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and then breathe out to the count of 8. And then breathe in for 4 and repeat. You can tell yourself to stay awake. Just that. Give yourself permission to stay awake and have a toolkit of treats awaiting you. So blue light protecting glasses can help you watch your televisions and your iPads and your screens, so you don't need to give yourself a hard time about looking at them. So I'll link to these special glasses that prevent this light from getting into your brain, which affects your melatonin and your sleep cycles. Just whatever works for you. It could be getting your knitting out. It could be watching Gardener's World. It could be having a nice bowl of warm porridge or giving yourself a massage with some cream. But something so that if you wake up, you go, not so bad, I'm going to do all those nice things for myself. And I mean, it's time alone. If you don't get that much, you could maybe that in itself could be a little moment of relish. Okay, but just making something so it's like a bit of a treat that you're up, texting a friend in Australia, you know they're going to reply back. Okay, so these are some of the more traditional things that people are going to tell you about routines, so let's cover them. Daytime routines. So when you wake, make some notes about your sleep. Do you feel rested? Incorporate your fatigue levels into your daily plan. So don't go into too much detail, but just noting, am I tired? Is there anything in the day ahead that I can get rid of? Does not need to be done. I don't need to focus on that, or tasks that you would find soothing that day. Listening to your needs, what's really important. Having minimal coffee and tea after midday. Again, some people are not affected by caffeine at all. Listening to yourself. Going for a walk outside for 10 minutes in the morning, or perhaps sitting outside with your morning coffee or tea. So this is absorbing from the environment, getting the circadian rhythm. So this light going into your eyes, this tells your body that it's morning, and it can help reset your natural sleep cycle by being outside in nature in the morning. 10 minutes of aerobic activity. So you could go for a 10-minute walk in the morning. Avoiding naps 6 to 8 hours before your ideal bedtime, and avoiding processed foods. Another thing might be to change what your ideal bedtime is. Again, going back to that biphasal sleep. Evening routines, go for a walk outside for 10 minutes as the sun is setting, and sit and have a warm drink outside, all wrapped up in a blanket if it's winter, or just enjoying the warmth if it's warm. Avoiding screens an hour before bed, popping those blue light filtering glasses. Eating 3 hours before you intend to go to bed. Enjoying low stress series and books. Drinking soothing infusions, having a warm bath or shower, 15 minutes of gentle stretching, avoiding alcohol, keep your phone away from your bed, hide clocks so you're not clock watching, and try to have your room no warmer than 18 degrees Celsius or 64.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and prepare an in case of emergency plan. That's part of your home practice. Of course, again, these things, if having a brandy before bed works for you, have a brandy before bed type thing. So here are some practical tips. Weighted blankets, pillows of different shapes and weights to support with tremors, restless leg syndrome and pain management. And with the weighted blankets, that can support maintaining body temperature, but can also soothe because it releases some oxytocin and serotonin. It's like being cuddled. So they're all the rage at the moment. Exercising, so more tired in the evening, drinking less liquids towards the end of the day, finding what works for you because you are the expert in you. Get your brain working on other things, having a dehumidifier in the background, this stepping outside of your stories and expectations, changing things up to suit your needs, i.e. if you need a few sleeps outside this very modern expectation of 7 to 9 hours in one go, do it, have a go, be playful with this. This was some tips from people that I put out on Facebook, and somebody said they would say to themselves, in a year from now, this will not matter. Medications such as melatonin, CBD, magnesium, all these sorts of things, that they may work for you and then they may not, but being playful with them. And somebody said that they had found that they didn't help them, but they did give them additional benefits that were worth making them continuing with. Mouth tape can ensure that you're breathing through your nose so you receive as much oxygen as possible. So if you are only having short amounts of sleep, at least making it the best quality that it can be. If you're sleeping with your mouth open, you are not as able to absorb as much oxygen as your body needs, so that can impact on tiredness. So if you sleep with your mouth open and snore, for example, you can use this special tape that you tape across your mouth, and it means that you can only breathe through your nose. It's another thing that's being bandied about, like weighted blankets is the thing to be doing. Visualize yourself safe and curled. Observe if you sleep better in certain seasons and adjust your routines and rituals around them. Hot water bottles in the winter, sheets in the freezer in the summer. That's what I do because we haven't got air conditioning. Have a backup place to sleep and move to it if that helps reset your sleep. Get somewhere ready so that if it happens, you can just plop over downstairs onto the sofa. There might be a sheet and a pillow waiting for you. If you don't need to use them, brilliant, but you know that they're there if you do. Another thing is turning your duvet over so it's cooler. It can help reset. Plumping up your pillow, little activities like that can reset ourselves. Sleep diaries may not be helpful and they can remind you of all the things that aren't working. So limiting yourself to making some notes when you've had a good sleep could be an answer. And looking at the day ahead and might give you some clues as to what helps and some of the things that you didn't do maybe as well that made you have a good sleep. There are some online sleep courses. There's Way Ahead Therapy. She's an Irish occupational therapist. So she's got a very soothing, beautiful voice, and that's €39. And you've got lifetime access to her course. And then there's Therasomnia, which was recommended by a group participant. I've only found it in a French website, but that might be because of the settings on my computer. So I think that it's in English as well. So these are your references that you can have a look at. There was also autogenic training that was mentioned. And there's another course that I should be able to direct you to, an online one. It's a big topic, sleep, and in the West we are really struggling to get good sleep. In case of emergency, okay, so you've woken up, what are you going to do? So this is mine: acupressure point massage, make myself a warm drink, get my light protecting glasses on and getting on my phone for a little scroll without anyone telling me off. That's what happens in my house. Having a warm bath, listening to the shipping forecast. If I'm hungry, making myself something to eat, something easy to digest like porridge. Or if you want a cup of tea and a slice of toast, you go for it. Read a low stress book, phone a friend in a different time zone. So I've got friends in Australia. Sometimes I'll send them a little text message going, oh, Mum, I can't sleep. What are you doing? So you've got a copy of, here are some helpful things that you could do if you've woken up. There's another one if you can't get to sleep. So just so you've got it, like when we're writing it on, I don't know, nice quiet afternoon, when you're not stressed, and then when you can't get to sleep and we are slightly less rational, you've got some practical tools that you can read through and you can go, okay, I can do these things then, nothing else. Making it a pleasant list of pleasant things that make what can be a very unpleasant situation more bearable by activating the reticular activation system and that vagus nerve. So home practice will be this 3-part breathing space. So bringing awareness to your body, then gathering your focus into the breath, and then expanding your awareness out. We're going to practice this to close. So, and I'll email you a link to one, which will be in 3 minutes. So it's a mindfulness technique to ground in the present moment, to switch this guy off and drop into this. So this grey matter building. An unpleasant experience calendar. So you've looked at a pleasant experience, now you're going to look at an unpleasant experience. What is going on in your body when something unpleasant happens? So here's my example. What was the experience? I couldn't find my cash card to pay for the shopping. How did my body feel in detail? My heart was racing, a lump in my throat, and I had sweaty, shaky hands. This is exactly the same as if a lion was going to attack me. My body doesn't know any different. Not having my cash card is not life-threatening, but my body believes that it is. And noticing is helpful. We're learning to pay attention to our body. So this is what I'm encouraging with these practices. What moods and feelings accompanied the event? Embarrassed, anxious, and scared. What thoughts? I'm an idiot. People are annoyed with me for holding them up. I'm angry with myself and I'm worried I've been robbed. What thoughts are in your mind now? I'm relieved. I found it. However, I feel similar physically. So what goes on in here tells your body that it's happening now and that you're in danger again. So when we relive these experiences, so don't do too many of them. Just noticing what you put your body through, these poor things. And again, that feeling a bit of an idiot, that sort of, but noticing like, what is that? Like this heaviness in my belly or this beating heart and this sort of disappointment. It's not easy being human. And we're taking time to pay attention to ourselves in a different way. So there's that. And then the 2 sleep plans. So 1, you can't get to sleep. 2, you wake in the middle of the night. So these little first aid kits for yourself ready. You could even have it in a little basket ready by your bed. Okay, I can't sleep. I'm taking this downstairs. I'm going to read my book. I'm going to put a face mask on and I'm going to eat some porridge or whatever. Just sort of making it pleasant. And then checking on one unpleasant experience. You might want to do more, but stick with one. And then this 3-part breathing space, and this isn't the right bit for that. But we'll practice that now. So I want you to do this 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3-part breathing space. Okay. So just taking a moment to settle into your body. You can have your eyes open or closed. And I want you to bring your awareness to the points of contact that you're making with the earth. Heavy feeling maybe. Just checking that you're not holding any tension around your forehead or your eyes or your jaw, or your shoulders aren't up by your ears, and just resting in your body. What are you noticing? What can you notice? Any pains, any tickles? And then narrowing your awareness to your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps noticing the coolness of the air as it travels up your nostrils, and maybe the rise and fall of your chest and belly. And then expanding your awareness from the breath to include all of your body, so having a sense of breathing in your body. And as best you can, taking the sense of connection and awareness into whatever you have left to do with your day. Thank you for joining me. And if you've got any questions or queries or tips or advice for others, please do reach out. It could really mean a lot to somebody to hear some new techniques.